Another round of Tejano Time podcast. Good evening to each and every one of you out there. We are doing it live right here, I say on YouTube and also on Facebook. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. For everybody that's out there that's tuning in right now, I would like to welcome for the very, very first time here on Tejano Time podcast, El Güero from Eagle Pass. We're talking about Mr. Gary Hobbs. So welcome to the show, my brother.
Hello, Keith. How are you, brother? It's
Outstanding.
good to be here with you for the first time. See, there's
Yes.
always a first, even for us veterans, us old guys. There's a first.
Yes, that is outstanding, man. And like I said, it's been in the works for about a week or so, week and a half now. We got the date set up, and we're here today, and we're live. We're going to bring all kinds of great stuff for you. Some details on some of the things that are happening here with Mr. Gary Hobbs throughout the show. So again, guys, if you're tuned in, share the live. Okay, definitely share the live. First of all, and first and foremost, Gary, we would like to congratulate you on 40 years in the music business.
There you go. Thank you so much. 40 years nonstop Tejano music, and it's a blessing. Sometimes it feels, Keith, like it just started a couple of years ago. And of course, sometimes it feels like it's been a long, long time. But 40 years, we're blessed, and people still actually hire us, and people call us and play our music. And so we're blessed.
Outstanding. And again, congratulations to you and your team as well. You know, worked hard and have gotten, I mean, we're talking about music galore. He's got a lot of great music, which you can find on all digital platforms. And we'll get to that later on in the show. Gary Hubbs, once again, here live on the Tejano Time podcast. It all began for you, I guess. I'm going back on some of the notes that I have. You're 8 years old, is when it became, you became a major player in the scene, in the Tejano scene, should I say, around 8 years old. Tell me a little bit about that story.
I started. I started learning how to play piano about as an 8-year old. I love playing ball, baseball, hardball. I love everything sandlot, basketball, football, all year round. And so I would be playing outside, and my mom decided that I was going to play piano. She always saw me like listening to music. She knew I loved to hear music, the radio, and or trying to put some records on back then. The
Mhm.
needle where you put the quarter on top and stuff like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
but uh, but then she decided again that I was going to learn how to play the piano. And she came outside while I was playing with my friends. She said that I was going to start going to piano, and I thought, well, okay, and so I thought, okay, well, next week, no, today, right now,
Today, right now.
okay. So my friends literally waited outside while I went and I took a quick uh, lesson, like orientation.
Hmm.
My professor, Maria Luisa Rioja, she's a concert pianist. She's passed on, of course. She was of good age, and uh, and she taught me how to start reading music and playing music, and she knew I like to hear pop back then, and I bought some sheet music without even knowing how to read it yet. I bought
Hmm.
two of them. Like one was Saturday in the Park by Chicago, and
Okay.
the other one was Joy to the World, the Three Dog Night. And she told me, if you learn what I teach you, then I will teach you what you want to learn. And so
Wow.
I kind of caught on to learning how to read and play classical music. Did that for about I want to say 6 7 years, something like that. And
Wow.
but by then I started with a youth group across the river in Piedras Negras, Coahuila. They call
Hmm.
them rondallas, and so it's a youth group. Guitars, acoustic guitars, and they teach you how to accompany and do requintos, the leads, and it's a mixed group, young boys and girls, and Keith, I remember Professor Valentin Villarreal. He's gone to pass with the Lord too, but Profe would go down the line like into that first or second class, and
Hmm.
he would go down the line and you have to do the part. And I was kind of cool with that. But then when it was the whole group had to sing, so
Right.
that was my very first kind of like test there. And oh my God, when I noticed that he was going down the line and you had to sing it. I mean, I could speak Spanish because I live on the border, but to sing it and to in front of everybody, and oh my God. And so that kind of reminded me of when I got married at church and I had to kneel before the priest, and the priest said something like, okay, repiten lo que diga, repeat what I say. And
Mhm.
then he said, yo, Gary Hobbs. And I remember I was so tight and nervous, and my first words came out like, yo, Gary, like, in the whole church heard it. And that kind of reminded me of the first time I had to sing in front of La Rondalla. But piano and guitar, and then by the time I got into seventh grade, I was already playing a little bit of trumpet because my grandfather used to
Okay.
play trumpet back in the 40s, municipal orchestras, Las Placitas, and so I was pretty much, it's in the vein in the family. So I always loved music. So started at a very young age, but
And
and still learning, Keith. Still learning. I
yes, definitely. Like you said, you picked up a few more instruments along the way to learn, but your main thing now is just basically singing. You know what I mean? Do you play any instruments at all?
acting,
Acting.
acting like I can sing. I'm a good actor.
Mr. Gary House is with us here live. We're talking about the Halantine podcast. To everybody that's tuned in right now to the show, we've got a lot of people that are tuned in here all over. As to where we're at, we're broadcasting on several different platforms as well. Some shout outs that we'll get to here in just a few minutes. The Alicio Leal show, Hola guys, good evening. Let's get some of these out of the way before they start building up on us right there. And also we got Chrissy E, which is another Tejano artist there from South Texas as well. That's right there. We would love to meet you in person when you come to Freddie Records. I record there at Freddie's too. That's Chrissy
Hello,
E.
Chrissy. Nice to meet you.
Outstanding. Everybody's joining in on right now, on the show right here. Terry Galvan. That's the cool shared. Thank you, Terry. We appreciate that. Definitely share the
Thank you,
live.
Terry.
And you guys, if you guys have any questions throughout the show, definitely post them, and we'll definitely get to them. So many people that tuned in the group as well. We'll get some shout outs to those guys here in just a few minutes. But right now, it's we're talking with Mr. Gary Hobbs on the show. It's the very first time here on the Halantine podcast. Right now, you're currently signed with Freddie Records.
We signed with Freddie about a year ago. And it just came by chance. I had met Don Freddie once or twice on events where grand openings, stuff like that, radio stations, stuff like that, and always so gracious and humble with me. And I had met Freddie Martinez Jr. on some seminars and conferences for the Tejano Music Awards some years back, but on this occasion I was at a Spurs game, and and it was my grandson and I told my grandson, I think I'm gonna need to go to the restroom, Miko, and he goes, I'll go with you, Paul, but he's 17 years old, and so we're walking down that corridor, and I just looked over, and I could have sworn I saw Don Freddie just like walking by himself, and I go, where's the entourage or security, or where's Don Freddie Martinez walking by himself? And so I came up to him. I hope I didn't startle him, because Mr. Martinez, and he saw me and he goes, Gary Hobbs, and oh, sí, Gary, ¿cómo estás? And well, it was chit chat for 20 seconds, and he's always told me, cuando se te ofrezca algo, Gary, and so that kind of like went to the back of my head, and I pondered on it. But a couple of months later, I've always done a lot of production with Hector Gutierrez out of Robstown, Texas, dear friend of ours, and he's produced a lot of our stuff. And Hector was recording some stuff at the studio there in Freddie Records, Legend Sound Studios, and Hector called me because he told Don Freddie that I had told him that I had seen him at the Spurs game, and he goes, "Oh, sí, lo vi a Gary." And then Hector just like blurted it out. He told Don Freddie, Mr. Freddie, because he calls him Mr. Freddie, wouldn't it be good to have Gary Hobbs on the label? And Hector says that he just immediately turned around and says, yes, it would. And so it was
Right
nice
there.
to hear that. And so I kind of like held on like 30 days to that stuff, 40 days. And, Keith, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I was an independent label for 20 years, Amex Records, AMMX, Amex Americano Mexicano. And it was owned by my son and I and my wife. And we put out 6, 7 projects. We recorded the Hometown Boys, a couple of CDs. We recorded Ram Herrera 1, Fama 1 CD. We were, and did I say the Crazy Pimps too? And but but to get our music on radio for a good while there was like tooth and
Tough.
nail. I mean, it was the early 2000s, you know?
Hmm.
And so I started thinking to myself, hey, you know, Freddie Martinez has been like at the top of the game since, of course, he founded the company in '69, but throughout the years, they continue to, promote their artists. Their artists are always on radio.
Hmm.
And I kind of like, I went through this little self analysis where Jimmy Gonzalez would get something new out, and he was a great artist, and the new music was on the radio,
Yeah.
and so was and Jay's new music was on the radio, and then Stevie D's new music was on the radio, and I go, and they're still trying to play Las Miradas and Maldito Amor and Amame Bésame and Te Vas a Acordar, and I'm grateful for that.
Right. Right.
But I've had new music, right? And
Hmm.
I made a decision. I powwow with my son, and if I go to Freddie Records, it's because I'm a songwriter too, and I'm into publishing
Yeah.
since the '90s. And so I
Wow.
thought on the second of the last CD, it was on Amex Records. I wrote 6 songs, and nobody played it. I was so I was I'm gonna use the nicest term that I can is that I was offended, you know.
Hmm.
And then I went to Freddie Records, and I'll tell you what, there is a huge difference. But and I don't want to say that they have the influence stuff, and that they have, no, they take care of their business. But going into Freddie Records and starting to record Sin Fin, the whole CD was a total collection of teamwork. From,
Wow.
I mean, everything funnels through me as far as deciding on what material. I was
Hmm.
so impressed and grateful that Don Freddie, Freddie Martinez Jr. never once came at me and said, "You need to record this," or "No, not that one." Or I've never been told that. So uh, I mean, I'm blessed.
Blessed. Yeah.
Am I lucky? I don't know, but I've never been told, "No, not that song," or you need to record this. I guess they trust that I know what is Gary Hobbish, right?
Yeah.
But so I look at, I screen material, I start writing. Hector comes in from Robstown, Eagle Pass. We start kind of like framing things, and then once we start getting to the studio, then the whole band is involved. The whole band, and all the tracking with Eli Molina. Ram was there too. Roberto Serna, Mariano Herrera. It's just like Freddie Jr. walks in and he's listening, and he'll contribute something, and when Don Freddie walks in, it's like John Gotti walked in. It's like
Yeah.
everybody just listen, right?
Yeah.
But it was
Amazing.
a collection of complete teamwork on Scene Fiend. But
Hmm.
so I went to Freddie Records with the idea that I wanted to make sure that our music was getting a fair shot at the radio. And there's been a huge difference. And again,
Definitely.
I should still be super offended because a lot of those radio stations weren't playing me.
Yeah.
So I'm indebted to people that support us. I'm indebted to Freddie Records, but the whole band, and Hector Gutierrez, producer, and of course the Martinez brothers, Mark Martinez, and um, but uh, but that's how I kind of got to Freddie Records. And I've been asked a lot lately, how's it going? And I tell them, well, the honeymoon's been going great. Let's see if
Definitely the
we're
new
still lovey
marriage.
dovey.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And along the 40 years, though, of your, in being in the business there, 40 years in the music there, Gary, you've had some major endorsements, and you were with some major labels prior to where you're at today as well. I mean, we're talking Emmy Latin, big endorsements and throughout your entire career. This is like I said, you've been around. You've done your homework. You've done your thing. It's safe to say that in 40 years. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. Not only just that, we're talking about Scene Fiend right now, the album that you currently have out under Freddie Records label. It was, I mean, nominated for a 2023 Latin Grammy, nomination there. Look at that. Outstanding right
There
there
you go.
for best Tejano album. Okay, so we want to congratulate you on that as well,
Thank
Gary.
you. I had just I think that the Tejano Music Awards has just finished, and you start hearing, controversy things, and I was offended again that I wasn't nominated for male vocalist or Quedaría as a single, but the CD was nominated at the Tejano Music Awards, one of the top five, and of course we lost to Signo, and it's all good, Keith. but uh, but uh, but I was kind of like trying to overthink and analyze all of that, and
Hmm.
I get a text that, congratulations, and I said, congratulations. I just lost at the awards, but it was shortly right after that the top five of Latin Grammy nominees came out,
Yeah,
and I'll be really honest, it did catch me by surprise, because people will say, well, he's with Freddie Records now, so he's going to get nominated. That's not really true. I mean, there's a huge roster of talented people there.
you're right.
I mean, you start with Elida, Los Palominos are there, Jay's there. I'm going to miss people. I'm going to get in trouble here. La Fiebre is there. They've been nominated several times. And so I felt I felt pleased, happy for a little bit. It kind of felt biblical, biblical. 40 years
40
coming out of the
years.
desert and finally being recognized and an accolade. We're I can't say we're me, Keith. I've been an artist that when I started in '83 and '84, I was winning most of those accolades at all the awards. There were so many of them.
Hmm. Right.
KIWW awards in the Valley, and Mike Chavez awards, the
Yeah.
Corpus, and the South Texas Music Awards. There's a North Texas Music. There was a West Texas. Everybody was doing their things, and I was winning either most promising band or new male artist or new male vocalist those first 2 years, and
Right.
you think you're climbing the ladder, and
Hmm.
then right after those 2 years, then it was, and we were nominated the first year at the Tejano Music Awards, and it was Los Chamacos and Pio Trevino and Magic. I think Magic won. I'm not too sure, man. And in my head, I was thinking, but those guys were already around. How do they qualify for that?
Yeah.
It's just me, right? My first year, but since then, Keith, I would never win accolades ever again until
Wow.
2020 Tejano Music Awards gave me a male entertainer, and I'm grateful, but I was kind of loving the streak of not ever winning at the Tejano Music Awards, but the Latin Grammy just hit me a little bit different. I didn't worry about it except for about the last 2 days, and
Yeah.
especially the night before. I was thinking like, man, what was happening if we were to win one of those, but I'm very grateful that we got nominated, and
Yeah.
I'm not one to go in and accolades, and I just keep working. I dare to say that we work just as hard and just as much as any other people that win all those accolades. So we're blessed on that side of it. We have so much music in 40 years, and and we still have a lot of support, all our Tejano music family and friends, man.
That's wonderful, man, and blessed. I mean, to have the fans that you have right now in the industry, your followers, your following too. Your social media has got a great following as well. Let's get to some of the let's see here, some of the comments that we got here. Rick De La Rosa says here, saludos Keith Leal and Mr. Gary Hobbs. That's right, saludos Ricky De La Rosa.
Hello, Rick.
También also Danny Noyola, actually from Corpus Christi as well.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if,
yeah, Danny. Howdy, Danny.
there he
Corpus
is right there.
Christi. Good friends with Hector Gutierrez,
Yes,
our
there he is.
producer.
Yes, keyboardist, arranger, and producer, and Team Gary. Go Freddie Records. Go. Thanks, amigo Keith Leon, and yeah, big shout out to you, Danny. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Hey,
Share the
hey,
live
hey,
as well.
Danny. If you're listening, Danny, you can almost say that I've always looked up to Hector Gutierrez. Well, because he's 6'6". He's a dear friend of ours, Hector Gutierrez Robstown. He's our producer, and we've been friends since '83, and we talk once a week. And he works at Freddie Records now. He's producing other people and stuff. I think they're producing a new Pio Trevino CD, and so shout out to
Amazing.
Hector, and we'll be seeing you here really soon, Heck.
There you go. That's right, Mr. Hector. Thank you so much again. Not Hector, but Mr. Daniela for all that right there. Gloria Science is watching us on YouTube as well. Hi, Gary. How are you doing?
Hello, Gloria.
Javier Morales también es saludos.
Mi compadre Javier Morales, dear friend of mine, Laredo, Texas. I hope you're feeling better, compadre.
All kinds of great listeners out there that are tuned in throughout there. Yo también, dice Danny Yola, LOL.
Yeah, you too, Danny. You do know, Keith, that I owe money to all those people. That's why they're tuning in. And when I'm going to be in their city soon.
That'll be there. Right? That'll be right there at the front door, right? George Nunez right there says, Gary, your music is transcending. My pops was a fan. Which made him a fan. He goes, I'm 30 now, and my 13-year-old is now a fan. Love your music, sir.
Wow. Jorge Nunez. I used to know a Joe Nunez. I don't know if they're related, but thank you so much, Jorge. Appreciate that.
There you go. Just watching us out there on YouTube. David Villanueva Jr. Eagle Pass
Little
in the
D.
house.
Little D does a podcast with us, Hanging with Gary.
Oh, yes. How is that going?
Well, we've been audio all this time, Keith, and we've been wanting to go to video for quite a while. And I'll be so honest that I am the one that has put the brakes on us because there's so much mid-ridge bulge yet and double chin that I can't get away from that. But hopefully soon we're gonna be on video, Hanging with Gary, and Little D is on our show, and so is Johnny Dowell, and my compadre Jaime Samago, Jay-Z, who plays bass with us and sings. We have a podcast and audio, and we were supposed to do something last night, Keith, and the old man was, I've been up since 7 this morning doing about 10, 12 radio interviews and 3 or 4 podcasts, but pretty soon, guys, pretty good.
Pretty soon, so be on the
Big
lookout.
Shout out, Little D.
Mariposa Sotos as well is out there. Thanks for sharing, Terry Galvan, with your crazy self. This has been waiting to see Gary Hobbs. Hello, Mr. Keith, and hello, Mr. Hobbs.
Hello, Mariposa.
Appreciate you guys taking the time to join us here on the show again. If you're just joining us here, Mr. CC Jammer from San Antonio, Texas, as well. What's up, Primo? And Gary.
CC Jammer.
Great guy, man. Primo. Great guy. Yes, yes. Everybody's watching the show tonight, guys. And if you're just joining us here, we're going to get to the new single that he has out here in just moments. We're going to talk about that single that he has that was done with the legend himself, the legend, Mr. Freddie Martinez Sr. You collabed with him on on this one song. Tell me a little bit about how did that come about?
Well, again, nobody's ever forced us to record such a song and stuff like that. But they had told me that there's some songs if I wanted to listen to them. And so I listened to a couple of songs, and there was a song there was a cumbia, Llegaste a mi corazón. That's a jam and a half. And I'm waiting to, start playing that, and I hope it gets out to be a single, that's something that the label and I will talk about. But the other song was Borrón y Cuenta Nueva. And the first time I heard it, Keith, I kind of felt like, man, I know Don Freddie wrote it, but this is 110% Don Freddie Martinez Sr. And so when I heard it, it's a slower waltz, una valseada, and I thought this is something a little bit out of my box, right? Out of my comfort zone. I had done something similar in the 90s, but I really wanted to do it. And so while I'm trying to see if I can kind of just go over it in my head without even going yet with Hector Gutierrez on it, because I kind of tell Hector the ideas, and then he just elevates and fills, and he starts to create and stuff. But Freddie Jr. was in the studio, and I asked Freddie, "Hey, Freddie, do you think your dad would collaborate with me?" And he goes, "I'm sure he'd love to, but let me ask him." And so it stayed at that because we were already we were already tracking. But when he did get to see it to his father, Don Freddie said that yes, he'd love to do it. And so I'll tell you that Don Freddie's got a musical ear and a half. I mean, he walked in the studio when we were doing some of the we were starting this music, and Hector asked him, Don Freddie, if you want to interject anything, feel free. And he just, oh my God, his mind just went to town because the horn parts and the arrangements and so I was like highly impressed. I mean, I knew he knew music, but he really knows music.
Definitely.
And the little story is that when he started to record his vocal, I I I shouldn't swear, but I promise you that Don Freddie was heading to the vocal booth. Or no, he used the big room, and uh, and I got a phone call that I really needed to answer as a promoter, and so I went into the hall, and then I went to the hall, and then I finished the phone call like in 2-3 minutes, and because I'm 16 over now, I went to the bathroom, the prostate check, but and I got back, Keith, and Don Freddie had finished like
What? Like
like one
nothing.
take. I mean, with all due respect, the man's 80 years old, and he's got chops, and he just one take, and that was it. I didn't. I was gonna take a picture. I was gonna. It was through, you know.
Yeah.
But and the other thing that I was so appreciative and thankful that, how do you go to an icon, a legend like Don Freddie, and ask him if he'll do harmony vocals for me, like
Right.
on
Right.
on the track, and especially when he wrote it, right?
You wrote it.
But and it came out of him. I was so impressed. I mean, oh my God. I mean, I knew he was humble and stuff, but he kicked it out in a hurry. And so Borrón y Cuenta Nueva, came the collaboration went through, and I'll be honest, another a radio station this morning asked me, bueno, Gary, y de dónde la letra de Borrón y Cuenta Nueva? And I had to explain them, pues está escrita por Don Freddy Martinez, that he thought I had written it,
Written it.
and no, I didn't. And so, and then he says that he wanted me to ask Don Freddy where did those lyrics come from. But Borrón y Cuenta Nueva is really, like, look, things have happened, but if we're gonna start all over, it's like, hey, a clean slate.
Right. Right.
Borrón y Cuenta Nueva. It's like, if we're gonna start all over, if you're gonna love me, then you're gonna put the past, but it's a clean slate on both sides, right? But they wanted to know where Don Freddie had gotten it,
Got it.
and if it happened to him and stuff. And I go, no, 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 I didn't write it, but and I'm not gonna ask Don Freddie when I see him. So, but Borrón y Cuenta Nueva is something that was out of the box for me, but the arrangement and Don Freddie and having mi compadre Jaime Samago produce the vocals, and then it goes to Hector, who would be the head
The
the
head.
head
Right.
producer. If he oversees it, Jaime sees it, mi compadre, and then Hector, then I feel so comfortable that we're practically there to get approved by the label or not.
Well, I can guarantee you that it's doing very well for you out here over in Houston. That's being requested very much out here in this area, as well as it is just everywhere else. Because again, it's internet radio goes a long way, so it's highly requested right now. So it's doing very well. So congratulations to you on that, and of
Thank
course
you
to
so
Freddie
much.
Martinez también. Some more shout outs, Gary, before we get to the song that we're going to play. We want to play the song for everybody out there. But a Tumbleweed, Texas, got us tuned in también.
Tumbleweed, big shout out, Rob. Big
There you
Rob.
go.
No TikToking next time. No TikToking. And not talking ticking either.
Mr. Bobby Castañeda. Saludos, Keith and Gary. Thank you, Gary, for all the great music over the years.
Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that.
Big shout out to Abby, says hello as well. Thank
Hello,
you,
Abby.
So we got anybody out there that's got any questions for him? Definitely. Let's see. Here we go. Gary loves to shoot the shit, he says here, but he is one of the most humblest guys I know. Great interview. It's Mr. Bumper.
I'll tell you what, I didn't get a phone call for my Grammy-nominated podcast, and Wisconsin didn't call me. I don't care what they say, Bumper. But big shout out to you, brother.
Mr.
Puro
Bumper
love.
Gomez. That's right. Mr.
Puro
Wacky
love.
Wednesday himself right there, man. Great guy, man. He's doing great things with that show. And we'll just continue to do what you're doing, my brother. Yes, we got to keep the industry alive, and definitely doing a great part with what he's doing out there over in San Antonio. So, yeah, big shout out to you.
He knows how to shoot the shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I haven't been on his show, though, yet. So
I told Bumper,
waiting on the call.
he's saying throughout the podcast, we're just shooting the shit. And I go, can you say that? Can you shoot the shit on the podcast? he opened my eyes. Now next time on our podcast, you're gonna hear big shout out, shoot the shit, the bumper.
Bumper going, yeah, right, definitely. We're gonna get to make some T-shirts. Right here it says, "My son always has Gary Hobbs on his phone." So Eric Roman, I guess, believe he's got his
Hey Eric, Big E.
music on the go from Mr. Gary Hobbs. That's right. So guys, we want to take the time right now to play the new tune that he's got out right now. Again, we congratulate him on his 40 years. His Latin in 2023 Latin Grammy nominee as well. He's also got nominated in the past for the Tejano Music Award, Male Entertainer back in the day as well. He's got a lot of accomplishments that he's done in 40 years. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that the one that top the things off right now for you, Gary, is being nominated for a Latin Grammy. Should I say?
We'll see if phone calls come in, Keith, but we've had a lot of phone calls without it. And
Yeah.
no, it is quite an accomplishment. When I registered, I had been part of the Academy maybe like 1 year back in 2002 or something, 2003, when we started Amex Records in 2001. And when I talked to the lady that's in charge, she goes, "Congratulations, because you're nominated." And I go, "Well, thank you, but it's not exactly winning." But she goes, "No, you've already won." Dijo, there was something like I don't know, 47 categories or something like that. But she said there was over 19,000 entries. So
Wow.
she said it's easier, it's harder to get nominated than actually win.
Win.
And so I kept the thought, and that was a couple of days before. That's what kind of got me rattled, and it kind of sinks in, and I was telling my friends, there's only one thing that sucks more than losing the Latin Grammy would have been that I had to fly from Spain home 16 hours. That would have really sucked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a long flight there. 16
but
hours.
But we're happy for Juan Trevino, brother. We send a shout out
Definitely.
to Juan. So friends of his and fans of his, please, let him know that we're thumbs up and congratulations. And
Yeah, for sure. That's right, man. Mr. Juan Trevino, congratulations. He's been to the studio here several times, and I'm going to invite him back. Now he's got the Grammy, so I was like, okay, now I can't get a hold of him. So
you see, Bumper,
No,
you got to
I'm
win a
kidding.
Grammy to get a second chance.
All right, so we're going to take off with this song right here, guys. Check this one out right here. It's the Borrón y Cuenta Nueva. This is the current single that's out on all radio waves right now. It's the Gary Hobbs featuring Mr. Freddie Martinez right here on the Tejano Time podcast. So we'll take the song, take a little break here, and we'll be right back here in just a few. Hang tight.
A pedir perdón por todo el mal que me hiciste. Por lo tanto que te quiero, estoy dispuesto a olvidar. No vas a encontrar quien te quiera como Dios. No vas a encontrar quien aguante tu traición. Yo soy el único, por lo tanto que te quiero. Voy a olvidar, yo voy a olvidar cada tu desprecio. Como la quiero. Si vas a quererme, borrón y cuenta nueva. Todo el pasado, eso ya quedó hacia atrás. No vas a encontrar quien te quiera como yo. No vas a encontrar quien aguante tu traición.
soy el único, por lo tanto que te quiero. Voy a olvidar, yo voy a olvidar cada tu desprecio. Si vas a quererme, borrón y cuenta nueva.
Si vas a quererme, borrón y cuenta nueva. Todo el pasado, eso ya quedó hacia atrás. No vas a encontrar quien te quiera como yo. No vas a encontrar quien aguante tu traición. Yo soy el único, por lo tanto que te quiero. Voy a olvidar, yo voy a olvidar cada tu desprecio. Si vas a quererme, borrón y cuenta nueva.
There you have it. That's the brand new single right there, Borrón y Cuenta Nueva. Mr. Gary Hobbs featuring Freddie Martinez Sr. right here on the Tejano Time podcast. Great songs. Everybody out there that's tuned in right now, let us know what you think about the song. That's right. Welcome back, Gary, again, once again to the show here. To everybody out there that's they're dropping a lot of comments on here. Gary, let's try to get a few.
Don Freddie Martinez with Gary Hobbs, but
Yeah.
we'll take it.
We'll take it, right? Grupo Insignia también says saludos out there. Oh, right here, Mr. Ricky De La Rosa here says having the support of all your fans and followers is the best award in itself.
Yeah, I agree, Rick. Thank you so much. It's true.
Definitely. So right here, Mr. Danny Yola says here, great song, Don Freddie and Gary Hobbs. So a big shout out to him
Thank you,
once
Danny.
again. Got us tuned in. Everybody that still has us tuned in right now. There was a lot of comments that came through early on that we didn't get a chance to touch bases on throughout the beginning, well, from the beginning of the show and whatnot. But we'll get to those a little later on here. If not, we'll have to run back and check on those. But any other questions you guys might have for Mr. Gary, feel free to drop them in there, and he'll be more than happy to, if time allows us, to answer as many as we can. But again, going back to that single right there, that is your current single that's in the radio airwaves right now, Gary. Anything to follow up on that one right now? Is there any talks about another single in the upcoming dates to be released? And
we were blessed that we released Quedaría, the first song with the single. It was a cumbia, and we've been experimenting for about 2-3 CDs now, where we do the choruses. We put they're Tejano cumbias, but we kind of go a little bit reggaeton light just on the choruses, and then we get out of it, or we go back into some of the music. But we've been experimenting with that. But then Te Juré, Tejano Ranchera was our second single with a video, and blessed that I wrote those first two songs. And Borrón y Cuenta Nueva was the third single. It's also got that video with Don Freddie. I'm even letting my Don Freddie sideburns. I don't know if you noticed that, but letting my Don Freddie sideburns grow out. Yeah,
some pork chops there going there, right?
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, there's I was discussing this with Freddie Jr. with Freddie about how I think that, and he thinks too, that we still got some legs on this CD, and I just don't know. You look at Spotify and Google and Amazon Music, and you look at Pandora, and you look at the analytics, and you tend to want to think that analytics at least don't lie very much. But but there's other songs there that Quédate Conmigo y Sin Fin, and those are two songs that I wrote. But friends of mine, Johnny Davila, he wrote Solo Mentiras, and another Tejano song, and a friend of mine, Ernesto Cervera, Dime Cuando Sea. Those are all Tejano songs that Johnny also wrote. Estoy Sufriendo, more in the style of when we've written and recorded Tres Rosas or Buscando un Amor. We just use the accordion, but that cumbia, Llegaste a mi corazón, is something that, man, that's a jam.
Just a jam right there.
I don't know how we, couldn't have released that first or second, or I think you wanna please your crowd, and our crowd are Tejano music family and friends. And what I mean by that is, when I got into the business, it was '83, and it was a ballroom. It was the ballroom era, and oh my God, I love the ballroom era. I love it. I'd rather see people dancing, dressed to the nines, and singing along, and whether they got the bottle in the hand, that's up to them, right?
Right.
Assembly not required. But the concert format is something that I've never really been comfortable with. People just standing there in front of you. I can't pick my nose. I can't pick my behind. I can't. They're looking at you, right? And I've never been comfortable in that. I never have. I love the ballroom era, and so we strive our priorities to make people dance, and I get it. All these other bands that are more in that concert format, they're trying to make people feel happy and dance too. But I actually have to see it sometimes, right? To truly get off on it. Pero Llegaste a mi corazón is a jam, and that's our priority. I think when you listen to our CD, the first 7-8 songs are just they're on a roll.
On a roll, solid.
They make you you want to kind of compare CDs sometimes with other artists or other colleagues, and you don't do that to see if you're not trying to spy on anything. You just want to hear what's out there, and make sure that we don't sound like somebody else, or we didn't copy a riff by mistake or something. Right? But when I hear a lot of the music, I can honestly say on this one that I thought it was very solid, and the first 8 songs are just and I almost got to the point that I didn't put a ballad, and I wrote a ballad, Mi Obsesión, and when I listened to it, Keith, I should have just gone acoustic on it, which was an option for me, and we went with some beats on it just to push the button, right? To maybe cross the line for a little bit. But man, I hope I can convince Freddie to do an acoustic version on that one. The last song on the CD, Mi Obsesión, but everything else is danceable, and I think we achieved that. And I wanted to go retro, I wanted to go old Gary, but new Gary sounds, and still make it sound Gary Hobbish. And I think I got a lot of that, like from that Bruno Mars CD, with 24 Karat Magic stuff. It just sounded, old school, but so new and refreshing. And so that kind of like stimulated us a little bit, and we wanted to, kind of achieve that. And I think we achieved that. I think it sounds very Gary Hobbs, and it's very Tejano, but a few new wrinkles here and there,
Oh yeah, definitely you got it there with that. Like I said, the new sound, something the old Gary, but still with a new, refreshed sound. It is there. It's there. It's on the album. It's action packed. It's got some great music, great stuff like that. So if you guys don't have the album or have yet to download the entire album, or if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, this is what we're talking about right here. Sin Fin is the name of the album, Mr. Gary Hobbs. Okay, so you can get that. It's available on all digital platforms, ladies and gentlemen. So go out there and add it to your playlist. Add your favorite song. Take a listen to the songs that you might like, and add them to your playlist. Again, they're out there on all platforms. And Gary, tour dates, anything that you have in the upcoming to close out the year, should I say, since we only got a few more weeks left? Anything?
I know I'm working. My God, I have to look at the dates, but I know we're going to be towards the end of the year, the 29th. We're here at the casino, Lucky Eagle, Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino, the Que Pasa Lounge. I know that the 30th we are at El Social in Houston.
Okay.
Mikey Mike. Then There's some other dates. We have some private events coming up this weekend, and but we start off the new year, Favor de Dios, trying to hopefully get back in the studio, and we're still working. I always celebrate my birthday. My birthday is January the 5th, and so I always celebrate those first 2-3 weeks of January. You know, and hopefully they don't bring me a lot of cakes this year because I end up
Right.
eating all those chocolate ones. But so many things into the new year. I don't know if I can. We put on some
Sure.
Tejano cruises on
Yes.
Royal Caribbean International Cruise Lines, and we've done 4 of them, and our 5th one is coming up in February. It's on the Harmony of the Sea ship, brand new ship coming in, a gigantic ship, beautiful ship. And that's our 5th one, and our 6th one is scheduled for next November. We've opened registration. That's going to the Bahamas, and we've been blessed to have David Ligarza, los musicales, Rubén Ramos, Roberto Pulido, Pio Treviño. Oh my God, David Mares, of course, Joe Posada, Ricardo Castillon, Ladez. We on this one in February, Stephanie Montiel is going to be with us. We're looking forward to that one. We've had Shelly Lares on some other ones, and we're blessed to be we have like 600 people registered for this one in February. They didn't want to make me a king here on the land, so now Tejano, king of the seas. There you go, baby. You know, but no, I'm just joking. But we're so blessed that that people have supported us on our Tejano cruises, and Gary Hobbs Family and Friends Cruise, and there's a website there, GaryHobbsCruise.com. Should be getting more information as we speak the next couple of days. But between that and hopefully losing weight to put the podcast on video, it may not happen like that, Keith. But
Yeah.
But we're pretty busy. Gracias a Dios, we do about 100 dates a year, and a lot of people, like I said off the air, a lot of people don't like, they don't believe that. But if you just look at social media, you know, there's a lot of private events that we don't post up. Of course,
Right.
I became the Tejano wedding singer years ago, and so we do a lot of private events. But we do 100 in a close, or right over 100 dates a year. In the 90s, Keith, that golden era, that 94, 95, and 96, we were doing 200 days, 200 plus days, and whether people believe it or not is really irrelevant, you know. But
Yeah.
our musicians know, and I tell you what, there were some bands out there. David Ligarza, los musicales back then were just like everywhere, and they were gigging, I dare to say, more than us, and we were doing 200 plus days. And
Wow.
But we continue to work and have a lot of nice things coming up, con el favor de Dios.
There you go. There you go. So if anyone wanted to, that's not following you already on social media, what social media platforms are you on right now so they can give you a
follow? We're on Facebook, of course, Gary Hobbs Official. We're on Twitter, which is now X, Gary Hobbs Official. We're on Instagram, Gary Hobbs Official. We don't do the TikTok or the Talk Tick. No, we're not into that. But and then we have GaryHobbs.com, and it's being reconstructed again. But GaryHobbs.com has been on for decades with us, but we're trying to revamp it as we speak. And so a lot of good things. Social media. You can find us on YouTube. The videos to the new songs, they're on Freddie Records TV on YouTube, so you can take a look and see the progression, how I started getting fatter and fatter. And
You're gonna have to do one right now when you start losing weight to get back on your podcast one, where you're at right now, to go back to where you're. Yeah.
And then I know I have to get back to, you know, to maybe thinking of a new video, and I put it in my head. Okay, now I'm really gonna do it, and I don't get around to do it.
You get around to doing it.
I think it's a sign of old age, Keith.
Right? Yeah, definitely. Well, we're almost there. I know I'm almost there. I mean, I'm going to hit 50 pretty soon. So give me a few years.
You're still young, Keith.
Still young, but it's you start feeling that pain where you don't think you can ever get pains around 40. You know what I mean? So 40 plus, a couple more years on that.
Next couple of weeks, I turn 64.
Wow.
And the 64, and the only thing that kind of gets me is that, like, in 13 months, I'm going to be turning 65 if I'm alive and well, right? Or if Jesus don't come back. But I can kind of like, okay, 64, oh my God, okay, here we go. But thinking that 13 months, we're going to hit the 6'5" is like, Oh my God. It's like,
Wow.
I hope I get some good offers from AARP and Medicare.
Right. Get an endorsement from Ben
Those
Gay.
Denny's restaurant senior citizen discount. Shoot,
Yeah, no,
like
it's
40 cents difference or something. But
so Deborah Lee Weaver here has a message for you here.
Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Always supporting us.
It's just, hi Gary,
Hey,
see you in the
Debbie.
valley for your birthday, God willing.
Oh, willing, God willing.
Yes, and Mr. We got here Michelle Villanueva. I mean, Gary played at my wedding in Eagle Pass 5 years ago. Awesome night. Our wedding song was Enamorado de Ti.
Enamorado de ti. Yeah. Song written by Beto Ramon. Yeah. One of my favorites. We haven't done it in a while, but it'd be nice to start doing it again. Enamorado de ti.
Yeah, those are
Mrs.
great.
Little D.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. We got one more before we go here from La Jolla. Anything Gary does is amazing. Thank you for all your music that you do. And every time I see you play, you're always great at taking pictures with your fans. I have many pictures with you from 89 till now. Been following you since then. So that's Emerald Perales. Right
Thank
there.
you, Emerald. I appreciate that. It's our pleasure. We're indebted and we owe so much to the public, el público, and we want to make you all dance and come back. Yeah, sure. And it really is all about business these days. Yes, it is. It takes money to get out there. This is all we do. We're full-time musicians, but when people stop by and just to say hi, and what gets to me sometimes, Keith, I'll be there like 40, 45 minutes, and then I'm going on stage and somebody tries to get into like one more, knowing that I'm heading the stage, and I'll see that person kind of like, make a face, and I go, God, but you can never win it. You can never get it 100% right. But
Right.
but we got 99% right. But we're always sticking around when we can. I never stick around like when a band is next, because I think that's just disrespectful. But so many artists did it to me in the 80s and the early 90s, and so when I go on first before somebody, I would never dare to do that. And I mean, you're opening up for Ramon Ayala or somebody or whoever, and you just don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
if I'm working with David Lee or anybody like that, I don't like to stick around right, when they start. But we're thankful that people still stick around and take a picture with the old man.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen out there, we thank each and every one of you out there for tuning into the show. It's the Tejano Time Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Leal. My special guest today, Mr. Gary Hobbs, right there. The legendary Gary Hobbs, should I say now. 40 years plus in the business. Great music, great stuff. So you guys go out there, stream his music. It's available on all digital platforms. Again, Gary, we thank you again from the bottom of our heart here. It was an honor to have you here on the show. We're looking forward to the next already. And if I don't talk to you anything before the end of the year, I want to wish you, your wife, and your family happy holidays and a happy new year to you as well, buddy.
Likewise to you, Keith, and all your audience. Merry Christmas. You'll have Happy New Year. Dios los guarde, Dios los cuide, and favor de Dios. We'll see you all soon in your town. Pretty soon, favor de Dios.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Bless.
Have a great evening.